TawkrTV and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, here we go at 33 minutes after the hour, The Bill Press Show. We're coming to you live from Washington, D.C., and our studio on Capitol Hill, brought to you today by the International Association of Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Workers. They've all joined together. They call themselves the SMART Union, Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation, under President Joseph Nigro, giving a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. You bet. You can find out more about their good work at their website, smart-union.org. Well, a day and a half before Congress takes off for their 5-week summer recess, what have they accomplished so far? What can we expect this week? Or what will be left undone? Congressman Mike Michaud, right in the forefront of a lot of the issues in the Congress. A good friend of ours, a neighbor, lives nearby on Capitol Hill, and the next governor of the state of Maine, joining us in studio this morning. Congressman, great to see you.
Well, it's always great to see you, Bill.
And we love that Maine accent, and we have a lot of listeners and viewers up in Maine. So
that's great.
Yeah, to see you. So yesterday, the House voted 225 to 201 to file a lawsuit against the President of the United States. How did you vote, Congressman?
I voted against it. So a waste of time. It's politics at its worst, and we have so much work that we have to do to get the economy moving even more than what it is today. And unfortunately, we're wasting a lot of time on this silly lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, do they really think it's going to go anywhere?
It's just politics. If you look at a lot of the bills that we vote on in the House, repealing the Affordable Care Act over 50 some odd times, they know it's not going to go anywhere. It's just sending a message to their base, and it's just wasting time when we got so much more work that has to be done.
Yeah, one of the things that has to be done is something about the problems at the border, immigration reform. You got the long-term problem, and then you've got this immediate crisis, humanitarian crisis, with these 57,000 unaccompanied kids who have come across the border. Will there be any action on that front before you leave?
Well, the House is voting on it.
Before the Congress leaves,
yes,
I should say.
That's right.
I don't. Yeah.
The the House will be voting on a $659 million package, which is, once again, they're not focusing on the issue. You look at the Senate package is $1 billion less than what the president proposes, $2.7 billion.
Yeah, but that's still pretty hefty contribution.
Yeah, $2.7 billion. It is a hefty contribution. That's what we should be focusing on, is a long-term solution for our immigration problem. This is something that, unfortunately, the House leadership has refused to deal with. There are members of the Republican Party that want to deal with this, and there actually was a bipartisan group working forward to have a major immigration bill, but the leadership doesn't want it to bring it up.
So the president's saying that if the Republicans are really serious about wanting to get more judges down there and to speed this process up so they can send most of these kids, which the White House says would happen, most of these kids back to their country of origin, they need resources. They'll say, we need $3.7 million. That's what it's going to take, $1 billion. And then the House says, well, we'll give you 659. I mean, that's...
It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous.
Yeah. And they may not even get that, right?
No, I mean, that bill's not going to go anywhere. It'll pass the House, but it's not going to go anywhere over on the Senate side. And, we have to start focusing on the issues and put aside partisan politics, because we're not going to get anything done unless we do that. I'm very pleased that under leadership of Nancy Pelosi, when she was Speaker, we passed the DREAM Act a number of years ago that actually looked at it comprehensively. Unfortunately, nothing happened over on the Senate side, but we have to look at it comprehensively, and there's no reason why we can't do that before we go on the break. Matter of fact, I don't think we should be taking an August break until we deal with this issue.
You'd be willing to stay here and work through them?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you think that's going to happen? Is there any talk about that?
I doubt it, because the Republicans, as you know, control what the agenda is on the House floor. Yeah. And for whatever reason, the rank and file on their side of the aisle is constantly backs up
it's interesting.
Their leadership.
Interesting you should say that. I was talking to a couple of members the other night. When you look back at the Obama presidency, just about everything he was able to accomplish happened in the first 2 years when Democrats had control of the House and Nancy Pelosi was Speaker.
Nancy, I always don't agree with a leader, but Leader Pelosi is a true leader. When you look at the stuff we've been able to do on Veterans Affairs, the Affordable Care Act, that was a lot, in part because of leaders of Pelosi leadership, the DREAM Act, the Recovery Act. So a lot of the major bills that we were able to pass, it was a Congress that actually did work.
Right.
Not like the do-nothing Congress that
now the one
Republican leadership.
The one area, and I know you've been very involved in this, the one area where it looks like something will get done before this the break, and that is on Veterans Affairs, Veterans Reform. I mean, the vote yesterday was 420
to 5.
Well, that's pretty decisive.
Very decisive. I guess although a conservative group was scoring the bill, but that was a very decisive vote. Not only does it take care of some of the short-term failings within the Department of Veterans Affairs.
This compromise. What does it do?
Well, it's $17 billion. $12 billion is emergency spending. $5 billion with offsets. $10 billion, all of that, $12 billion is for non-VA care, fee-based care, out there to try to take care of the backlog that's there. So it takes care of some of the immediate concerns within the Department of Veterans Affairs, and it also starts addressing some of the long-term problems within the department. The $5 billion is to hire more nurses for facilities to build up that infrastructure that we need. And as far as Maine, the arts program was something that we were able to extend. That was my bill a number of years ago when we established it. So veterans in Aroostook County can go to Cary Medical Center for their specialty care versus traveling all the way to Togus, which round trip's about 600 miles.
Whoa.
So that program actually saves money. According to Chris Duty, the CEO of Cary, said that they were able to save the department over $600,000 for travel reimbursement rates. It also deals with military sexual trauma for individuals who are outside the VA system, such as the Army National Guard, active duty personnel. We've increased slots for medical residency by 1,500. So the bill actually is a really good bill. It took a lot of work to get the bill done, and I felt very comfortable Saturday evening when I got off the phone with both Senator Sanders and Representative Miller.
Jeff Miller.
That we had a good framework, and Sunday staff was putting together the language for the bill. So I'm very pleased, extremely pleased with the vote yesterday.
Now back to the bulk of this money you said goes to try to speed up that backlog. And as I understand it, this would allow veterans who are in line, let's say, who've been waiting and stuck in that long line, to get private care, right?
Absolutely.
Outside the VA, which the VA would then reimburse them for.
That's correct.
And so how does that work? They just go to their own doctor or any doctor? Or
there'll be a choice card for those veterans. If they have to wait more than 30 days or live more than 40 miles away to go to their private doctor. One of the problems that we found thanks to whistleblowers is the 14-day wait period. Some regions actually have been gaming that system. And we found out that there are a lot of veterans who were waiting 3, 4, 5 months and even longer. So in order to take care of that immediate need, that's what we're doing. It's only for a 3-year time frame. One of the concerns that I have, and I know the veteran service organizations, is we do not want the VA to be a pass-through. We don't want them to be insurance. We want veterans to be able to feel comfortable that they can go to the VA for the health care if they want to.
Right.
The ARCH program is something that veterans in Aroostook County can go to Togus if they want to, but when you look at the winter and all that, it's a long travel time, so they'd much rather receive that specialty care closer to home. So it's a really good compromise. I'm very pleased with the final outcome.
And are you comfortable with the new director of the VA, Mr. McDonald?
Yes, yeah, actually I met with Secretary McDonald last week to talk to him about his vision for the VA. I'm very impressed with him. I think he's the right type of leader for this time for the VA. As I told him, the department is going through some very rough waters right now, but it's also a great opportunity. And I talked to then nominee McDonald about my vision on how to restructure the VA to make it more efficient, more effective. And he actually likes the idea. So during the August break, he will be his staff will be talking with my staff on a restructuring plan for the department, which I'm very excited about.
All right in the forefront of the reform of the VA, which certainly needs it. Long-term, as you say, short-term problems and long-term reform. Congressman Mike Michaud from Maine here in studio with us. Join the conversation anytime. We'll have a seat for you at the table. You know how to get there at 866-55-PRESS. That's our toll-free number on this Thursday, July 31. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show. On your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
13 minutes before the top of the hour, a good colleague of Congressman Mike Michaud's will be here at the top of the next hour, and he is Congressman Mark Takano from Southern California. So Congressman Mike Michaud from Maine's 2nd Congressional District, but soon to move up to be the next governor of Maine. We want to talk about that in just a second. But just a footnote on the Veterans Administration bill, Congressman. I mean, Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Maine, Vermont, right?
Yes.
Jeff Miller, Republican from Florida. Big differences, but a serious problem, veterans reform. They get together, they work out a compromise. It's approved yesterday, 425. This is the way Congress ought to work.
Oh, absolutely should be the way it works. And that's when you look at this issue, the Veterans Affairs Committee, I'll give Chairman Miller a lot of credit. That was an issue that could have turned partisan very quickly, blaming this administration for the failures of the department. But it wasn't. Chairman Miller and I, we worked very closely together. All the votes in the committee has been unanimous votes, and sometimes we disagree on certain things, and the chairman would pull back and until we can get an agreement. And the committee members, when you look at the diversity, Congressman Takano compared to some of the other members on the Republican side, very different in their philosophy, but work extremely well together. And so I'm very pleased. Actually, the Congressman Takano, since he's coming in next, he was very involved in the residency issue within this bill, and that's in there, and because of his leadership as well. So
you find again, I know Senator Sanders didn't get everything he wanted. The administration, the president didn't get everything he wanted. The Republicans didn't get everything they wanted, but there's a solution here, which it's just too bad that we don't see more of that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, you're absolutely right, and actually, I pretty much got everything I wanted in the bill. We got the arts program, we got the Title VIII employees, we got negotiations for reimbursement rates. So it's really a really good package. Very happy with it.
So we've talked a little bit about the border, where nothing might happen. Nothing's going to happen, it looks like, because you go home today, with the Veterans Affair, where we will have a bill on the president's desk. But the Highway Trust Fund was the other thing people were hoping to see some action on before the end of the week. How's that going?
It's not going very well. The House, we passed a Highway Trust Fund bill that actually took us until next May. The Senate actually amended that, and it only takes us till the end of the year. And as I'm told, actually, they had a $2 billion error in the bill, so it probably will not even take us till the end of the year. And we have to have a bill, because come tomorrow, if we do not pass funding for the trust fund, the department's going to have to start cutting back, throughout the country.
And this is the trust fund that's used fund projects just to basically to keep our roads and highways safe. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd much rather have a longer-term bill, but quite frankly, between now and May, that'll give us time during the lame duck session to try to get a longer-term reauthorization. But the Senate version is unfortunately, it's not going to go. That short-term funding doesn't help when you look at planning within the departments of transportation all around the country. We have a short construction season in Maine.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
why
sure.
we got to be able to plan for it. So.
Yeah, no. So, Congressman, you've got your eye on another job, and some of your time, of course, is going into that effort. How does that look?
It's looking extremely well. The enthusiasm and excitement in Maine among Democrats, independents, and moderate Republicans has just been great. We've been leading in all the polls, which is a good thing. And when you're getting attacked every day by the administration, you're on the right track. One of the areas that actually this administration keeps attacking me on is veterans issues, and that's actually one of my biggest strengths when you look at all the work that we've been able to do for veterans. And I think the reason why they're doing that is because, quite frankly, this governor has done nothing for veterans. Matter of fact, he denied access for over 3,000 veterans that would have been eligible under the Affordable Care Act for health care. He's vetoed it 5 times. So, and he's attacking Social Security, as you saw in his press release, that Social Security and Medicare's welfare, plain and simple. That's his own words, which is unfortunate.
I think Paul LePage, right, isn't it?
Yes.
From what I read, I've never met him, he is probably one of the least popular governors in the country, even among other governors.
Well, one thing is talking to people in Maine, they say, well, they don't like how he says it, but at least he says it the way it is. And that's not true either. What he says is not is not accurate, and he just says anything, hopes something sticks, and he has heard. It's one thing with the rhetoric coming out of his mouth that we have to live with, right. But it's those policies that implement that rhetoric that's coming out of his mouth is devastating for the state of Maine. Child abuse have increased 58% in Maine. Children living in poverty has increased in Maine. Looking at the national average among homelessness, that's gone down on average nationally. In Maine, it's gone up 26%. So his policy is definitely devastating the people in the state of Maine, as well as we can do a lot better economically. We're near the bottom of economic growth, but businesses really don't want to invest in Maine, knowing that they can't. There's uncertainty there because the erratic behavior of our governor is causing a lot of uncertainty.
Well, we'll miss you here in Washington, but the people of Maine deserve better, and they're going to get it with Congressman Mike Michaud. Thanks, Congressman, so much for coming in today.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be back, and I'll make sure that JJ the cat that keeps patrolling the neighborhood to keep us safe over here.
That's right. If you go away, leave JJ here. All
okay.
Right. Thanks, Congressman. Great to see you. I'll be back to tell you what the president's up to today.
This is the Bill Press Show.